24 hours later, worry had given way to panic. Dozens of calls to Rheinkahl went unanswered, and at least twice as many direct messages had been marked as undeliverable. Something was very wrong. Vez's father was missing. Maybe Rheinkahl had been called to some emergency duty at the border between the Bright Republic and the belligerent Vesia Kingdom, which had recently engaged in a series of skirmishes. If an incident flared up there, it's possible the Mech Corps would station its best veteran pilots as close as possible on the spur of the moment. At least, that's what Vez hoped. But when he contacted Rheinkahl's commanding officer and close friend, he learned that no one had been recently deployed. According to his personnel file, your father is still on leave. So, Vez filed a missing person report with the police, who assisted Vez in his search, at least to a limited extent. The police determined that there had been no galactic calls, electronic messages, and no biometric recordings. His father had simply disappeared. And with that, the police closed the case with no further investigation. So here Vez was, just starting out, and now all alone. He'd have to get this business off the ground himself while also searching for his father and trying to fend off creditors who would begin breathing down his neck. The business was up to its ears in debt from the loans Rheinkahl had taken out at various financial institutions. Vez cursed his life. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. He wasn't supposed to be designing mechs. He was supposed to be piloting them. He wasn't supposed to be homeless. He wasn't supposed to be on the verge of bankruptcy. And he wasn't supposed to drown in fear and heartache at the disappearance of his father. Just as he and Rheinkahl had grown close, his father was taken away from him. Or left him. Or something. Not knowing was almost as bad as the absence itself. After weeks of silence, Vez began to fight through the sorrow and confusion and accept the fact that his father was not coming back, or at least that there was little he could do to bring him back. And Vez began to let a very heavy reality slowly set in. Rheinkahl might be dead. Vez rolled into the workshop ready to get back to work. He looked at the calendar, which showed he was nearly 3 months behind schedule. He took a deep breath and collected his thoughts. Okay, Vez, you can do this. If Dad was here, he'd say something like, "You got this, Junior," or "Get your head in the game," and... His wrist communicator screeched at him, interrupting his uplifting thoughts. And on the other end of the communicator was a lone officer from Cloud Curtain Planetary Bank. A pit formed in Vez's stomach as the bank representative spoke.
I'm calling to discuss the terms of your Cloud Curtain Personal Loan Plus.
Did you say personal loan? I haven't borrowed anything. My father took out a small business loan before he went missing.
I'm sorry, sir, but the debt is in your name. I have a fully executed note in your name for, let me see here. Just gotta click to the next. Oh, here we go. Yep. 330 million bright credits borrowed with an adjusted annual rate of... Hold on, gotta find... Yep, 28%.
What the fuck?
I will send an electronic message with the particulars, but I want to inform you that a payment of 5 million credits is due in 90 days from now. If you like, we can actually offer you a discount. 100 credits off if you set up an online recurring auto pay today.
No, I can't do that.
Okay, if you change your mind, sir, you can still enroll online at...
No, I can't do that because I don't have any personal loans. Not at Cloud Curtain, not at BOC, not anywhere.
I just sent over the electronic copy of the note, sir, for you to review at your leisure. If you wouldn't mind, there is a brief 10-minute survey at the conclusion of this call. Have a lovely day, Mr. Larkinson.
Hello? I don't have any personal loans. Hello? I don't even have an account at your bank. But the loan officer was long gone. Vez was yelling helplessly into a void. He looked at his messages and found the loan note. He scrolled through it, page after page, until finally getting to the signatures. And there was his name. But the signature underneath he did not recognize. Not at first. What the hell? Did someone forge my signature? Is this a scam? 330 million bright credits. That's enough to buy half a dozen retired third-generation mechs. And that's when the signature clicked. It was Reinkoll. His own father had forged his son's signature for more than 300 million credits. And now, he was missing. What did you do, Dad? Vez knew that Reinkoll had been a little opaque in how he handled the financials, but he was the one bringing the startup capital together. Money went to buy various tools, drafting supplies, and machinery for the workshop, including a brand new 3D printer that made the dusty one that came with the workshop look like child's play. The printer was essential to the business because it could turn a variety of raw materials into factory-quality mech parts, from individual nuts and bolts to more complex mechanical components. The sudden surprise debt was mind-blowing. Not only could Vez spend a lifetime working and still not earn enough to pay back the money, but he didn't even know exactly where the money was, or where it went, or if it was spent on the business at all. His previous dreadful thoughts of Reinkoll's possible death were now competing with the gut-wrenching realization my father might not have gone missing, or have been killed. In fact, he may have just scammed me to the tune of hundreds of millions of credits, and then left me holding the bag. Maybe I just sell the workshop and the machinery and walk away from it all. Maybe that will cover a big chunk of this personal debt. Shit. What if there are other loans? What about the house? Did Reinkoll even use that money to buy the workshop? For now, though, Vez pondered how he was going to scrounge up 5 million credits in the next 3 months. The first payment was coming hard and fast. It felt like a train barreling down the tracks, and he was tied down on them. He activated the band-shaped communicator around his wrist, and a digital screen beamed into view. It displayed a menu full of apps. He swiped to see his bank account, a measly 1,200 credits, which was barely enough to cover his protein packs and veggie tubes. How he was going to earn 5 million credits was beyond him. The business hadn't even gotten started, and with his father missing and questions about the loan, Vez was more shocked and confused than ever. Grasping at straws, Vez decided to call about his father's life insurance. If that paid out, maybe in combination with selling the workshop, it would get him close to paying off the debt. That would be a godsend. But when he phoned the life insurance company, the representative was something less than a godsend.
Do you have a death certificate for Mr. Reinkoll Larkinson?
No, he's been missing for an extended period of time.
Do you have a court order certifying Mr. Larkinson is deceased?
No. But maybe I can get that. Do you know how I would even go about that?
Sir, I'm not really allowed to lend any legal advice. Corporate doesn't want to be held responsible for any misinformed customers making mistakes and then trying to sue us.
Fine, I get it. But if you were me, if you were in my shoes, what would you do?
Sir, if I was filing a death claim, the first thing I would do is go to my local courthouse after the person has been missing without communication for a continuous amount of time, and file a petition to have the person presumed dead. Then, you can get a court order or a death certificate.
How long is a continuous amount of time?
6 years.
Shit.
Excuse me, sir? Sir?
Vez was too flustered to respond, and the insurance rep simply disconnected the call, leaving him alone with his thoughts. His angry, terrified, helpless thoughts. A hopelessness feeling overwhelmed Vez. I'm broke. I can't even scrounge up the credits to buy the raw materials I need to fabricate new parts. How am I supposed to make the things I need to sell to make the money I need to pay off the debt I have so I could start the business? The virtual readout, still floating from Vez's wristband, flashed green and displayed Cloud Curtain Planetary Bank. For a split second, Vez imagined they were calling back to say it was all a big mistake. They got his account mixed up with the other Vez Larkinson. Then he remembered that his name was unique. Not like unusual unique, like there are 0 other Vez Larkinsons in the galaxy unique. Then a horrible idea invaded his mind. Oh my god. Are there more loans? He could not bear the thought of hearing the loan officer's cheery voice telling him he would be broke in debt, homeless, and destitute for the rest of his life. So he let it go to voicemail. A moment later, he played it back anyway.
Hi, Mr. Larkinson. I'm so sorry. There was one more piece of info I failed to convey when we spoke.
Vez took a big breath in preparation for whatever curveball was coming next.
We have an item for you. Mr. Reinecall Larkinson left an envelope with specific instructions to relinquish it to you on such a date if he did not reclaim it prior. That date is today. I have dispatched it to your workshop via a secure courier service.
Vez could not fathom what his father had left for him. Did he plan to disappear? But why on Cloud would he need to disappear? Was he mixed up in something sinister or dangerous? And why, after all these weeks, would today be the day he wanted Vez to take receipt of it? Vez sighed. He knew that none of those questions even mattered right now. He was alone, left to pick up the pieces that his father had left behind. And he must save his business and his future before it is too late. That was fast. Vez opened the door to find a courier. Without a word, the delivery guy held up his forearm and a small display floated out of his wristband. Vez leaned in and gazed into it. An affirmation sounded, followed by a digitized voice.
Signature approved. Thank you, Mr. Larkinson. Please take receipt of your package.
The courier handed Vez a thick envelope, and then hopped on a motorized bike and sped off. Vez turned the envelope over to find a note. To my boy, in case I don't make it home. It sure sounds like his father knew he was going to vanish someday. Vez unwound the string that secured the flap, and inside, he found a secure data chip. Vez wasn't even sure what it was at first. It was highly unusual. Data transfers were done wirelessly. Chips were only used when the contents had to be kept secure, or secret, or both. Vez turned off his connection to the galactic net. He wanted to make sure that whatever it was his father went to all that trouble to keep secure didn't instantly get uploaded when he accessed the chip's contents. It took 3 seconds to load the information from the chip onto his communicator band. One thing was for sure. The amount of data was surprisingly large. Immediately after the data transferred, an unknown process booted and then several subroutines seemingly started firing off on their own. The projection screen launched and collapsed several times. The system clock reset itself to the year 2000 before switching back to the correct time and date. The green notification indicators switched from green to red. The data chip seemed to have loaded some sort of black hat code, which then hijacked control of his communicator band. A soft, ethereal voice came from his armband.
Initializing Mech designer system. New user detected. Initiating deep scan in 2400 millicycles. Please prepare properly.
Wait, what? Prepare for what? An electrical shock jolted from the communicator up his arm, across his chest, and into his heart, stopping it dead. For a brief moment, Vez blacked out, and as he collapsed to the floor, he wouldn't admit this to anyone, but he also peed himself. And that is how Vez Larkinson began his quest to become the top mech designer in the galaxy.